Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Imam Sahib says that it is a incredible blessing of Allah that by the capacity granted by Him, we were blessed with the month of Ramadan, and now this month has gone past quite quickly, and there's only a few days left. And Imam Sahib says that in the keeping this in view, Imam Sahib said that I thought of the fact that in the month of Ramadan, most people offer their salat very well, and other than the 5 compulsory obligatory prayers, they also offer the extra prayers, voluntary prayers. But the month of Ramadan, which comes to awaken us from our slumber, and the aim is for us to forget our lethargy and our laziness, and to perform the worship of Allah properly. But this should not just remain limited to Ramadan, it should continue afterwards as well. So with this in mind, Imam Sahib says that the next few dars that are left, Imam Sahib wishes to present the importance of Salat and also different conditions attached to it, so that the basic basic need of a believer, the basic definition of a believer is Salat, and if a believer does not perform this basic responsibility, then he is not a believer. So in this regard, Imam Sahib said that there was a gentleman called Russell Webb who accepted Islam and Ahmadiyyat, and he asked a question. He wrote it to the Prophet ﷺ and told him that I am in the army. I have been in the army, and every soldier has his own distinguishing, unique feature. So I wish that there was a distinguishing mark for us as well, which would be an identifier for an Ahmadi. The Prophet ﷺ replied to him and said that the only distinguishing feature of a Ahmadi Muslim is their salat. If someone becomes an Ahmadi and then he offers their salat properly, and whenever the time of salat comes, he abandons worldly matters and gives his full attention to Salat, then he can say that is his distinguishing mark. So this is a very important matter, and it's not a small piece of advice. It is extremely important, which is each of us should always remember. Each man and each woman should remember this. So the proper preparation of Salat and its full embellishment of Salat is a very important matter. And in this regard, Imam Sahib says that I wish to divert our full attention towards this subject for the next few days. The first tradition is reported by Hazrat Abu Ayyub Ansari Raziyallahu Anhu, that a gentleman came and asked the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said that, O Prophet of Allah, tell me an action which can take me to heaven and keep me away from fire. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ replied to him that worship Allah and regard nothing as associate nothing with Him, and offer your salat and give your zakat and maintain good relations with your family members. This is a very comprehensive hadith which applies to our entire life. So one of the fundamental obligation of a believer is to offer his salat. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that I will mention some matters to you, and if you act in accordance with my advice, then remember that these pious deeds will enable you to enter heaven and will keep you away from fire. So this was explained by the Holy Prophet ﷺ that the first thing is to worship Allah, and it is the most important thing in Islam to worship the one Allah takes precedence over everything else for a believer. And then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that don't regard anything as an associate with Allah, that you should have such firm faith in Allah that nothing and not even any work should be regarded as an associate with Him. And then offer your salat and give zakat to those who to whom this applies, that is, the zakat applies. And then treat your family members with love and kindness. In this, very briefly but very comprehensively, the Holy Prophet ﷺ has mapped out a believer's life. He charted it out fully for us. And so the most important thing here that we should remember is the proper fulfillment of 5 daily prayers. Without this, a believer's life cannot be a true believer's life. He can be called something else, but he can definitely not be called a true Muslim. So the offering of proper salat, may it never happen that with one of us that they only offer the salat properly in Ramzan and after Ramzan they forget about it. It is absolutely essential that whether it's Ramzan or whether it's some other month, every single day a Muslim should offer his salat, his 5 daily salat. So this is the first answer of the Holy Prophet ﷺ to do with the obligation on every Muslim and every Muslim man and woman, which is to offer their salat. The next tradition is that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that if you see a stream running outside one of your front door, and he is able to bathe in it 5 times a day, then do you consider that there will be any filth left on his body? The Holy Prophet ﷺ's companions replied immediately that no, O Prophet of Allah, no filth will remain on his body. It can be said that even if you bathe properly or shower properly even once, no filth is left on one's body. But imagine if someone is able to bathe 5 times a day, then how could anyone have any dirt or any filth left on him? So remember, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that I have told you this in order to try and make you understand a very important fact, which is that this is the example of the 5 daily prayers, which are obligatory on every believer. And the advantage of this salat, the benefit of this salat is, Imam Sahib says that although we have heard these matters many times and repeated before us many times, but sometimes it happens that even though we know well about these matters, sometimes still some weaknesses remain. This is why Imam Sahib says that I wish to reiterate this. So the same is the situation with the 5 daily prayers according to the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And then he said, because by offering salat, Allah forgives their sins and also removes his defects and his weaknesses, and Allah grants him the capacity to regularly perform the salat, and through that Allah grants him blessings, which are that his sins are forgiven and also his weaknesses are removed. The next tradition is the words of which are An Usman bin Affan radhiyallahu anhu annahu da'a bi inain فأفرغ على كفيه 3 مرار وغسلهما ثم أدخل يمينه في الإناء فمزمز واستنشر ثم غسل وجهه 3 ويديه إلى المرفقين 3 مرار ثم مسح برأسه ثم غسل رجليه 3 مرار إلى الكعبين ثم قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من توضأ نحو وضوء هذا ثم صلى ركعتين لا يحدث فيهما غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. the last words, Imam Sahib said that they are words that are imprinted on the heart, because it's briefly explains the whole subject. The Hazrat Usman Raziyallahu anhu, it is related about him that he asked for some water, and he was showing the companions how to perform ablutions properly. So then he took water with the right, first he washed his hands, and he took water with his right hand and rinsed his mouth, and then he took some water and cleaned his nose, and then he washed his face 3 times, and then he rubbed his wet hands over his head, and then washed his feet up to his ankles. And then after that he said that, "O companions, remember that whoever," the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, that whoever performs their wuzu in the manner that I have just offered, I have just performed, then he offers his salat properly, then all of his previous sins will be forgiven. So this is a report of a practice performed by Hazrat Zanho. And then at the end, a statement of the Holy Prophet ﷺ is mentioned. And this gives us the message that we should perform our wuzu, our ablutions with vigilance and care. We should do it with wisdom and not do it quickly and hurriedly. We should perform all the different actions mentioned in this tradition. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Usman who said that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that if somebody does this and then offer their salat properly, then all their sins will be forgiven. Imam Sahib says that this is a very comprehensive reminder of how we should offer our wuzu and how we should offer our salat afterwards. And then the good news is that the one who completes this properly and then offers the salat properly, all of his sins shall be forgiven. May Allah enable us to perform our ablutions in this proper manner and to perform our salat in this manner as well. Ameen.